It's like a shark, NATO, except with poop.
I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Big, massive dump.
The Nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's Thursday. We got a show for y'all today. It's going to be good. We have... It's almost as if we went back to, like, 2014, where we are, once again, defending Obamacare from Republicans. Goddamn. But hey, there's news on that one. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We also have major Republican on Republican crime. And I'm talking major. Like, you're not going to believe this story. But it is apparently it's so good. Like, it's a horrible. So there's that. Yeah, horrible. But just an amazing story all around. We've got also Republicans running away from Capitol Police. That's weird. It's a weird story. Mitch McConnell, and then hello somebody. We're gonna talk about the Nina Turk. So, fun times. A lot of good stuff here. Going golfing after the show. No, actually, I actually don't plan on doing that, but I definitely could dress like this. That's for sure. All right. I appreciate you noticing my my attire today. Fox is silent on the Putin summit. You know what's funny? And I don't know if this I don't know if I really get like conspiracy into this one. Because look, you're talking to somebody who, basically looks at conspiracies all the time. But you could so easily come up with a conspiracy of Putin and Biden, because Putin had recently come out and said, "Oh, hey, anybody who says that Joe Biden has a mental problem, no, he's there 100%." So most people take that as, "Oh wow, that's a great compliment from President Vladimir Putin." But the conspiracy part of me is like, what if he's saying that because he knows? Again, nonsense. No basis in reality. I once again, I just point out to the idea that, or to the fact that, look, Joe Biden's, he's an older gentleman, and a lot of older gentlemen tend to lose their edge. And I think more than anything I have seen with Joe Biden is that he has reached the stage of life where he gives no shits about anything. And that's why he went after the reporter for asking questions, lost his temper. And Joe Biden's, of course, never really been somebody who had much of a restraint on his temper to begin with, and so there's that. But that's just me. That's not a compliment, but pure diplomacy. Well, when you think about it, they're kind of the same things, right? You don't want to be a complete dick if you're trying to do diplomacy. Republicans did give Putin a higher rating than Biden. Well, of course they would. Obviously. All right. Anyway. So there's that. Just a weird aside. All right. Anyway. Please like and share the stream. Do appreciate that if you do so. Again, random musings. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Let's get to the story. So we're going to start out. Let's see. We're going to start out with the ACA. Good news on that. It appears that the latest Supreme Court challenge to the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, has been rejected. Yes, back in 2018, 20 state Republican officials had filed a lawsuit to overturn Obamacare. So now the difference is, of course, in this administration, the last administration, I should say, Trump basically went along with these, endorsed that lawsuit. Generally, the White House tends to support these things, but of course, there was nothing about the Trump White House that was normal or usual or kept at all with the norms. And so, of course, they sided with these Republicans that were like, oh yeah, I got to get rid of the ACA. Now, why would they want to get rid of the ACA? Was it to put in a better health system? No, of course not. They just wanted to cut their taxes. One thing about the ACA that I often give credit for is the fact that it did raise taxes on the rich. Rich don't like that. And so they're like, oh, get rid of the ACA so I can cut my taxes. But anyway, their hope, the Trump administration's hope, that was a conservative Supreme Court, which right now exists 6-3, would strike this down. But unfortunately for them, it did not happen. The ruling was 7-2, with Justice Stephen Breyer writing the opinion. By the way, Gorsuch was on the other side, of course, not surprising. Now, HuffPost explains that the heart of the GOP lawsuit was an argument that former President Trump and Republican Congress had inadvertently created a fatal constitutional flaw in the law when in 2017 they reduced the penalty for not carrying insurance, known as the individual mandate, to 0. Inadvertently, you say? Right. Sure. I believe that. Don't you all? Don't you all believe that? They argue that because they had changed the dollar value of the mandate, but not its authorizing language, and because a previous Supreme Court ruling had upheld the mandate only as a tax, the provision had lost its justification on the theory that a penalty of $0 isn't really a penalty, isn't really a tax. And so therefore, their argument is, well, since that doesn't hold up, we just got to get rid of the whole thing and toss it all out. So throwing out the baby with the bathwater, getting rid of it, cutting off about 31 million people, 31 to 33 million people from their insurance. Now, the entire case, of course, was a stretch. It was a Hail Mary to prevent people from getting even the modest amount of help to get health insurance. And again, as a leftist, I think the ACA is not enough. But when it comes to the far right, they think any amount that you get help for your insurance is too much. We're not at all interested in this. We're not all that interested in the ACA. Hell no, get rid of it. Again, so they can save money on their taxes. No, of course. Of course. So now, as I said, I don't like the ACA because of the fact that it's just market-driven healthcare. It relies too much on markets, too much on giving corporations subsidies. I don't think we should have a profit motive in healthcare. But understand, that if they were successful, millions would lose insurance that they came to count on. As limited as it is of course many millions of people are still unable to use their insurance because it's still too prohibitively expensive. Nonetheless, there was something, it did help people, and Republicans wanted to get rid of it. Simple as that. And it's not because they had a better plan. It's not because they wanted to do better. No, the only actual superior healthcare plan is Medicare for all. We should do Medicare for all, and understand that even a public option would be a Band-Aid, a welcome Band-Aid for sure, but Medicare for all, it's just simply the best, most comprehensive plan that would actually ensure that we all have healthcare, that healthcare is universal. But again, Republicans say, we want you to have absolutely nothing. They don't want poor people to have fancy things like healthcare, health insurance. No, you got to work for it. You got to work for it. Well, wait. Like some of the jobs that we get don't offer insurance, or even if they do, they take half my paycheck, and I can't afford to do that. Well, their response to it is, "Get a better job. Not my problem. Not my problem." That's how they feel. And so it is both amazing and sad that during a pandemic, Republicans not only kept up with the case to kill the ACA, of course, but also continued to push it to make it so that people didn't protect themselves with masks, get vaccinated when that became available, and continued to push to reopen the economy. And in unsafe working conditions, which leads to outbreaks like we saw, for example, I believe in the some of these poultry meat processing plants. It's also sad, too, by the way, that on the other side, the Democrats failed to use the opportunity to adopt single-payer healthcare as a political position, or even push for the public option using emergency powers, while millions had actually lost their employer-sponsored healthcare during this time, during this crisis. I think Medicare for All is a slam dunk, and I know that there are people on the left that are, or towards the center, Democrats, liberals, that are skeptical of the idea. I get it. New, scary, untested, in America at least, unproven in America, even though we are literally the only industrialized country left without universal health care. But understand that once we have this, once we set it up, people will come to the conclusion of, how the hell did we live without this? It's amazing that we, actually have insurance. We can actually see a doctor when we want to. We don't have to pay co-pays, deductibles. We don't have to do any of that. Understand that most people in the world have never heard of a copay or deductible. They get treatment, they go home. No arguing with insurance companies, no worrying about bills of tens of thousands of dollars, or getting treated by an out-of-network doctor and getting billed for that because your insurance didn't cover it. Ridiculous. No skipping out on an ambulance because you can't afford it. Understand that that's what the ACA should have been. It should have been Medicare for all. This is what we should be defending now. But instead, no, we have the ACA, which is a bare minimum. You can thank the Democrats. You can thank Joe Lieberman for that. And now, now that it's actually survived, the ACA, another Republican challenge to existence, the third one from the Supreme Court. I'd like to actually get on with this and start expanding it. Start turning it into a single payer system, because I was told, we were all told once this was over, once the ACA was secure, that this was supposed to be a stepping stone and that we need to defend the ACA so that we can expand it and we can add more benefits to it before we can try bigger. Well, if you actually meant that and we're not full of crap, well, now would be the time. The ACA is once again safe. They're the last gasp of the Republicans trying to repeal it. Not only that, but we're still in a pandemic. Why don't we fight for Medicare for all? Why don't we do that? Fight for real, actual health care that helps everyone and is truly universal. I don't believe China has, Bob, Most people go to the doctor for free. Are you including India and China? Again, Bob, I don't believe China has universal healthcare. From what I understand, they still also have like a market type of healthcare. But don't quote me on that. I have to look it up. But I believe I had read somewhere that that they didn't have actually Medicare for all systems, or a single payer healthcare system in China. Again, I'm not 100% on that one. I'll have to double check, but yeah. The pandemic would have been so different had we had Medicare for all in place. True. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Don't worry, I'll read super chats later. Okay, so right now they don't have affordable basic health care to everybody. All right. So that would mean that they didn't have it before. Okay. Again, I have to do more research into that before I say definitively. All right. But let's go to the next story. Republican and Republican crime. I've said before on the show a lot that politics is dirty. It is unfortunately a game of power, privilege, and money. Now, it should, of course, be about serving the people that elect you. But unfortunately, that's not what it turns out to be in most cases. And so, unsurprisingly, you end up having people who stoop to very low levels in order to attain that power, privilege, and money. So you've got lies, smears, disingenuous campaigns. We've covered all those on the show. However, I've never quite covered a story like this. It appears that a Florida Republican candidate bragged about having access to a Russian-Ukrainian hit squad to go after his Republican opponent's life. So this is a Republican primary. So this is Republican on Republican crime that is happening in the 13th Congressional District of Florida. So now there are two people involved here. Now, one of them is Anna Paulina Luna. And she is running a Republican primary against William Braddock. And apparently Braddock had, on a call that was recorded, and this was recorded by conservative activist Aaron Olszewski. He was recorded talking about how he could have his opponent murdered. This is a long video. It's just over 2 minutes. And the original is much longer. And I will have a link to that in the description of this video. But first, I want you to just listen to this. This is some insanity.
Oh, we have access to a hit squad too, Ukrainians and Russians.
Damn.
You did not hear that from me.
I didn't hear what?
But this is getting deep. And I don't want you to be on the wrong side of it.
I don't want to be on the wrong side of it either. So why would we need, I guess, that's...
Oh, no, you're not going to be, you're not going to be a part of it regardless. But I'm just saying, don't get caught in public like supporting Luna, because Luna supporters Luna's going to go down. And I hope it's by yourself.
Is that why, I don't, is that what, the Russians are for?
If we do so my polling people are going to charge me $20,000 to do a poll right before the primary. And if the poll says Luna's going to win, she's going to be gone. She's going to disappear. Yeah. For the good of our country, we have to sacrifice the few.
Sacrifice the what?
The few. For the better of the good of the majority of the people, we've got to sacrifice the few. She's a crazy. She's a Democrat with a gun. She supported Obama immigration policies. She's flip-flop on abortion. She's a stupid, excuse my language, social media influencer.
Okay, so let's just say that like Luna's gonna win. Like
she won't. And if we have polling that proves she won't, she's gonna be gone. Period. That's end of discussion. Luna's not an issue.
How do we make her go?
I call up my Russian and Ukrainian hit squad, and within 24 hours, they're sending me pictures of her disappearing.
Oh, dang.
No, I'm not joking. Like,
wow.
This is beyond my control at this point. Listen, I'm in deep, okay? I am in deep. I will admit that. And if I lose, I'm going to have to move out of the country. But if I win, I'm going to help make a difference for everyone in the country. I mean, this is even scaring me at this point. But I know what I'm doing is noble, and I'm just trying to remain a humble servant of God, and I've got a lot of people behind me.
All right, sorry about that. So now, Braddock also had this to say later in the conversation. He said, quote, "I really don't want to have to end anybody's life for the good of the people of the United States of America. That will break my heart, but if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. Luna is an effing speed bump in the road. She's a dead squirrel you run over every day when you leave the neighborhood." Wow. Okay, then. That is, whew. No, I got the Russian and Ukrainian hit squad. Yeah. That's the thing. Now, Politico reached out to Braddock for comment after getting their hands on this recording, and he says, quote, "There's no proof of him mentioning hit squads," and claimed the recording may have been altered and edited. I'm just saying, you heard the recording, and yes, there was some editing. I edited the video for time, for example, and I also bleeped out some of the bad language. And you can listen, by the way, to the recording that Politico has. Again, it's going to be in the description, but you listen to it. It's bad. It's not good. Now, this guy is either talking out of his ass majorly, or as he says, he's in some deep shit. Well, I would agree. He is in very deep. He also talked about how I've got so much money. I've got cryptocurrency. I got billions of dollars, and I can't fund my campaign with it because of campaign finance law. But weird how that stops him. But murder, he's not stopped with murder. And so, oof, that's bad. That is real bad. It is very clear from that language that he's threatening somebody's life in order to try to win an election. And that's scary. And I don't know if people really understand how many threats politicians do get on a daily basis, but this is very explicit. Generally, it's from people who are, voters who are mad or unhinged or whatever. But this guy's like, no, I'm going to call in the hit squad. I'm going to take care of the problem. Yikes. Not only that, but it was actually really disturbing when he said, well, I have to do it. She's a Democrat with a gun. Hey, stupid. Democrats have guns. You realize that, right? Yeah, Democrats, yes, they can believe in gun control and also have guns. But no, she's a Democrat with a gun, and that he's just doing his duty as a quote-unquote soldier of God. That's scary. And by the way, claim to be a godly person. Well, what happened to thou shalt not kill, right? I mean, you might not be pulling the trigger, but if you hire a Ukrainian, Russian, mob to murder somebody, well, then you are just as culpable because you've essentially pulled the trigger himself. So, I mean, altogether, super scary. And again, this is William Braddock. He is running in Florida's 13th congressional district against another opponent here, Anna Paulina Luna, who, by the way, has taken out a restraining order and is very concerned about her life, understandably so. Look, I said, when I said I like a Republican and Republican crime, this is not what I mean. This is really dangerous, really scary, from really scary people. I hope there is an investigation. I hope that this leads to an arrest if he's actually serious about this. I mean, even he mentioned, like, if I lose, I'm going to have to leave the country. You might have to leave now because you might be in a little bit of trouble now. Just saying. Yikes. Alrighty. Well, that was quite a story to get through. All right. Moving on. We got more Republican violence. The man's name is William Braddock. By the way, I know everybody keeps asking me about that. Okay. Republican Congressman Andrew Clyde is being called out for his actions not only on January 6th, but following the insurrection. You see, on Wednesday, one of the Capitol police officers who was beaten by the MAGA crowd, this is Officer mcconnell, went to the Capitol hoping to, talk to, or at least schedule some appointments with some of the 21 House Republicans who voted against a bill that would award congressional gold medals to law enforcement officers who were there on January 6th. Now, one of those Republicans was Andrew Clyde, who said at the Capitol, said that the Capitol insurrection looked like a, quote, normal tourist visit. Ah, yes, because, the tourists, they smash the windows, they break into people's offices, beat up police officers with, like, poles and clubs, and, so they spread feces around. Not to mention the steal things. Totally a normal tourist visit. Totally normal. Now, Clyde, as I said, was photographed doing this. That's Andrew Clyde. Should have put like a red marker around him, but yeah. He's barricading the office on January 6th from the tourists. And that's something. Fun times. So now Clyde also apparently refused to shake the hand of Officer Fanone and actually ran from him. Here's him on CNN talking to Don Lemon about it.
I did bump into Representative Andrew Clyde in an elevator.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this because you ran into him, Congressman Andrew Clyde. Here's what he said about January 6th. Watch this.
Let me be clear. There was no insurrection. If you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
So we have this picture up now I don't know if you can see it. I think you're in the studio and you can. This is a Clyde trying to barricade a door on January 6th, which clearly wouldn't be necessary with just normal tourists. So what happened when you introduced yourself to the congressman?
So like I had said, I saw Congressman Clyde standing outside of an elevator. I was there with Officer Harry Dunn, who accompanied me throughout the Capitol. Went into the elevator. I greeted Congressman Clyde. I was very cordial. I extended my hand to shake his hand. He just stared at me. I asked him if he was going to shake my hand, and he told me that he didn't know who I was. So I introduced myself. I said that I was Officer Michael Fanone, that I was a D.C. Metropolitan Police officer who fought on January 6th to defend the Capitol. And as a result, I suffered a traumatic brain injury as well as a heart attack after having been tased numerous times at the base of my skull, as well as being severely beaten. At that point, the congressman turned away from me, pulled out his cell phone. It looked like he was attempting to pull up like an audio recording app on his phone, and again, like never acknowledged me at any point. As soon as the elevator doors opened, he ran as quickly as he could, like a coward.
Like a coward. Didn't
Correct.
Shake your hand?
Absolutely not.
What do you think of that?
Obviously, like, I took that particular interaction like very personally, but I also took it as a representation of Andrew Clyde giving the middle finger to myself and every other member of the Metropolitan Police Department and U.S. Capitol Police that responded that day.
Back the blue, everybody. We support police. Except, that time. Isn't it funny, though, that the same group of people that, again, were, we must defend the police officers. We have to defend the police. Well, they only defend the police when the police are cracking the skulls of BLM, black people. And I'm not saying Fanone was one of those people, obviously. But it's just funny that when a pro-Trump mob storms the Capitol to attempt to intimidate politicians into not certifying an election, these politicians show their complete and utter cowardice, therefore deferring to the mob and ignoring the police. Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird? I mean, what did you expect? I mean, again, the politicians, let's be honest about the politicians and their relationship with the police. Politicians use police as props, and the military as well. So now I have an issue with police, and I think it's been obvious. They've always been used as a force to protect the powerful against the powerless. Now, that's something that Republicans traditionally have always supported. But in this case, however, a MAGA mob literally tried to stop the results of an election that didn't favor them and used violence against the police. So that, of course, has Republicans in kind of a hard spot because, once again, the Republicans are, pro-police, love pro-police, back to blue. But then it's their own voters who put them into power who expect them to overturn an election and break the law. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, there seems to be a bit of a disconnect here, bit of a problem. And, what's interesting, too, about this is I remember showing you a video of January 6th where you had police officers that didn't take this seriously. They didn't take this seriously. You had videos of cops letting in the MAGA people, opening the doors. And look, it's because, honestly, most police officers are pretty conservative. They're members of the right wing. They're white supremacists, of course, in the police office, in many different police districts. I'm not saying that every single police officer is a white supremacist or white nationalist or anything like that. But I'm saying they have infiltrated law enforcement. And in this case, as I said, a lot of police officers looked at the MAGA mob and said, you're on our side. Now, if it were BLM or Antifa, well, then obviously police would have been cracking skulls much, much sooner. But still, here you had police waving in these people who ended up being, again, incredibly violent. They started going nuts. And even then, by the way, police did hold back. Reinforcements were delayed, not brought in until later, all while people like Mr. Fanone and Brian Sicknick were being brutalized by that same mob. Fanone was dragged downstairs by the right wing, beat with metal pipes. Even somebody had yelled out, "Kill him with his own gun." Yeah. But they were just tourists, though. You understand, they were just tourists. Or maybe Andrew Clyde is a sad little cowardly man who puts his political career, the votes that he would get from pro-Trump people who don't believe that the election was at all legitimate. In fact, half of all Republicans believe that Donald Trump is still the president, which is insane. And you had, I think it was 15, 20% of Republicans saying, "Oh, that's okay. We should use violence to restore the republic, to reinstall the leaders that the true leaders of this country." Interesting. Very interesting. But again, Andrew Clyde is one of those sad little men who cries, and who puts his political ambitions above everything else, all so that he can stay in power. Very, very sad man. All right. I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to come back. We're going to talk Joe Manchin, Mitch McConnell, and then Nina Turner. Hello, somebody. So you're going to love that segment, where, of course, Hillary Clinton's going to pop up. I know you'll love that. So stay right here. Around the Nation. We'll be right back.
How you like that, boy? You idiot.
Why? You're getting nervous, man.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the Nation, right here, Waldorf Nation. Before we get into it, I do want to read some super chats, and thank you for that. Ghetto Hoosier Doogie says, Republican Party, repeal, don't replace. Should repeal the Republican Party. Just saying. Hey, it'd make room for a leftist party, wouldn't it? There you go. That'd be a good thing. Let's see. Also, again, I cannot see the name. It is blocked out. But thank you for sending the super sticker. I do appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Twitch here. Oh, I don't even have my Twitch window up. That's ridiculous. What am I doing here? Thank you for the new follows. By the way, today, Natural Born Dragon, consume shrooms. Much appreciations to you. All right. With that, let's dive in. Let's go to Mitch McConnell. How's that bipartisanship working out? Not good. Now, Democrats like Joe Manchin, Joe Biden, and others keep saying that Republicans will come around to compromise. The fever will break. The fever will break. As long as we reach out to our Republican friends across the aisle, we can get some stuff done. We can get the important things done. We can move this country forward. Because Republicans care about governance too. How's that working out? Apparently, not well. Now, Joe Manchin. So I've talked a lot about Joe Manchin. And he doesn't want to do anything without Republican support. He's like, bipartisanship. We got to be bipartisan about everything. We got to have Republicans across the aisle. Well, I'm not going to get rid of the filibuster. I'm not going to do anything like that because we can get Republican votes. I have faith in my friends across the aisle that I can reach out and I can get Republicans to support these things. And so what he's been doing is he actually has been working on a compromise to Senate Bill 1. So this is the Senate portion of the For the People Act. So you've got a compromise. And how does Mitch McConnell, the Republican Senate Minority Leader, feel about this? He ain't interested. In fact, here's what McConnell has actually said about this. He said, 100% of my focus is standing up to this administration. What we have in the United States Senate is total unity from Suzanne Collins to Ted Cruz in opposition to what the new Biden administration is trying to do to this country. He also said, Senate Democrats seem to have reached a so-called compromise election takeover among themselves. In reality, the plan endorsed by Stacey Abrams is no compromise. So now Manchin's proposed compromise includes banning partisan gerrymandering, requiring voter ID, having at least 15 consecutive days of early voting, and making Election Day a public holiday, among other things. So now Stacey Abrams, a voting rights advocate, says, yes, I would support that plan. All right. Now McConnell says, no, and here's why. He says, it still subverts the First Amendment to supercharge cancel culture on the left's name and shame campaign model. It takes redistricting away from state legislatures and hands it over to computers. Computers. Which would arguably probably do a better job than what we have now. He continues by saying, and it still retains S1's rotten core, an assault on the fundamental idea that the states, not the federal government, should decide how to run their own elections. That's rich. It's super rich coming from a party that has also argued that the states are not allowed to change the date of their elections or to allow extensions and mail-in ballots and things during a pandemic. But they're all for the states running their own elections. I mean, as long as they don't make it easier to vote. Because if you try to make it easier to vote, we're not in favor of that. No. Again, we know Republicans don't want more people to vote. They've admitted it. They've said it before. All the way back in the 80s with Paul Weyrich. And the so-called moral majority. Talking about the goo-goo syndrome. About how, they don't want good government. Oh, no, they want less people voting. They don't want less people vote. Or they want less people voting. They don't want more people voting. And especially they don't want black people voting. Now, what's interesting is that when it comes to voting, this is actually the Senate Bill 1 is actually pretty popular with the voters. Weird, I know, right? Who knew that a pro-democracy bill would be popular? Weird. Very strange. So, as Axios explains, the Democrat bill, which enjoys support from voters on both left and right, would also require dark money groups to disclose their donors and would remove partisan lawmakers on the left and right from gerrymandering congressional districts. So you've got some transparency there. At least you can tell who's buying off your politicians. So now Joe Manchin, as well as Mitch McConnell, Republicans, and corporate Democrats, by the way, are not in favor of this transparency. They're also not in favor of limiting the role of money in politics. Although, again, voters on both sides of the aisle, they both are like, yeah, of course we don't want big corporations or unions or billionaires to buy off our politicians. We don't want that. We hate that. We don't want the corruption in our system. We want to get it out. And this, yes, wouldn't get rid of the corruption, but it would at least shine a little bit more of a light on it. And so, unfortunately, that is a bridge too far for people like Mitch McConnell, who said, or at least according to the article, says McConnell feels both of these things would mean Republicans would lose power because so many districts have been drawn by the GOP to ensure that they stay in power. But interestingly enough, Democrats also gerrymander. Maybe not quite to the most, ridiculous districts that Republicans tend to draw, but you have Democrats and Republicans sometimes getting together, conspiring to draw their own districts in a way that keeps them both safe. They'll sometimes even do trading, where they'll say, okay, well, I get this district and you get that district, and then we're both safe and we both remain in power, and this is good for both of us. So now I believe that no one should be allowed to do that. I think that no one should be allowed to have a safe district. I think safe districts shouldn't exist. I think people should be able to pick their representatives. I do not believe that our representatives should be able to pick their own voters. This is so deeply corrupt and problematic, and not even anywhere close to what democracy is supposed to be like. Which, again, believe it or not, Republican voters, a lot of them, at least theoretically, say that they support democracy. And in fact, again, when you present a neutral, description of this piece of legislation, are generally in support of it. And I'll get into that in a minute. Okay. But again, Republican politicians and a lot of the establishment, they don't like having their corruption exposed. They rely on this corruption. They rely on the system staying the way that it is to stay in power, and they, of course, know it. And now there's a leaked conference call with right-wing groups and a McConnell policy advisor that revealed that Republicans know that they're losing the popular message when it comes to restricting voting. In private, they concede their own polling shows that no message they can devise effectively counters the argument that billionaires should be prevented from buying elections. This came from a New Yorker report back in May. When presented with a very neutral description of the bill, people were generally supportive, according to the pollster, adding that the most worrisome part is that conservatives were actually as supportive as the general public was when they read the neutral description. Now, this is according to Kyle McKenzie, a research director for a Koch-funded group, Stand Together. So this is, of course, very troubling for them. They don't like democracy. They don't like voters being able to not choose, to have a choice. They like to control the elections. They like to make sure that there are safe districts and that they continue to be funded by billionaires. And that's what it is. That's why, no matter what you do, Mitch McConnell will never support Senate Bill 1. You think he gives a damn about what his voters want? Hell no. Hell no. That's why no compromise will ever be good enough for Mitch McConnell. Not only, does Mitch McConnell not believe in democracy, but again, he wants to do everything he can to block Biden's agenda so that later on, when the midterms come, he can say, oh, look, Joe Biden hasn't done anything, not even any of the modest reforms, or what he'll call extremist reforms. And so, he doesn't have a mandate. And so you need to put us back into power so that we can actually move our country forward in a bipartisan way. Sure. So now, why does Joe Manchin not understand that? Why is he bending over backwards to help Republicans? Well, I mean, I think it's because he is a Republican, basically. And the reason I say that is because I believe he thinks that they are partly correct in their worldview. That's why he is seeking bipartisanship with a political party that is extremely to the right, that are extremists. He thinks, though, that Republicans are correct enough that their ideas deserve a seat at the table. And look, if their ideas were good, then yeah, sure, they deserve a seat at the table. But they're not. They're anti-democratic with a small d. Add on to the fact that the party attempted to overturn the election and is now doing everything they can to block anything and everything. They're bad faith actors. Good bills, mediocre bills, doesn't matter. Anything that makes Biden look remotely good, they're going to kill for their own power. And the filibuster that Joe Manchin, and by the way, Joe Manchin has been exposed to have been receiving Koch support, Koch money, is in favor of keeping the filibuster, preserving it. And so not only is he monetarily benefiting from this obstruction, and there were, of course, recently recordings by The Intercept of him during meetings and doing fundraising as well from conservative groups and trying to hammer out this bipartisanship. But it just basically shows that he approves of the obstruction. He approves of what the Republicans are doing. And he generally thinks, I like Republicans. I agree. I want to stop the far left. You want to stop the far left. And of course, the far left in this case is just people who want more voting, more democracy, and less corruption. So there it is. That's why Joe Manchin needs to be defunded and replaced as soon as possible. Okay. Gonna need a turn. Hillary Clinton's endorsements have been likened. Let me start that again. So the Hillary Clinton endorsement has been likened a lot to a kiss of death for many different campaigns. And yet, of course, she persisted. On Wednesday, the former Secretary of State and presidential candidate once again got involved in the race to replace Housing and Urban Development Secretary Marcia Fudge in her U.S. House seat. So now, right now, one of the candidates is a Bernie Sanders ally and campaign alumnus, Nina Turner. So Nina Turner is dominating in the polls right now. Hello, somebody. Over her one of her opponents, Chantel Brown. Brown is a county councilwoman, and she is being destroyed in the polling and is widely considered to not have much of a chance. Nonetheless, Clinton persisted and tweeted this, quote, I'm proud to endorse Chantel Brown for Congress in the Ohio special election. Chantel made history as the first Black woman to chair her county Dem party, and she'll work to help her state and our country recover from COVID. Join me in supporting her. Join her. No, I'd rather not. So now the irony, of course, is that every other single Democrat state senator from Ohio's Cuyahoga County, where Brown is the chair of the local Democratic Party, has already endorsed Nina Turner. Add to it, the endorsement from Clinton has actually led to Turner raising over 6 figures in 24 hours. Woo! Oops. Actually, you know what? Thank you, Hillary. Way to go. Congratulations. Fantastic. So now, you might be wondering, wait, why is Hillary Clinton jumping in to support a candidate that has almost no chance? Well, it turns out Hillary Clinton's kind of petty. Now, remember, Nina Turner had once worked as national co-chair for Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign, as well as a surrogate for his 2016 bid. And if it's one thing Hillary cannot let go of, it's the audacity of Bernie Sanders actually challenging her. She was expected to basically breeze through the primary and take on, Jeb or one of those guys. Yeah, I know. Please clap.
Please clap.
Exactly. And, well, that didn't happen, of course. Because first, Donald Trump comes in on the right, Donkey Kongs everybody, and then Bernie Sanders comes in from the left and actually made her work for her candidacy. Yeah. And she hasn't let it go. She's still mad. She's so mad. And still blames Bernie Sanders for her loss to a reality show clown, even though Bernie Sanders worked his ass off during her campaign, went to more rallies for her on her behalf than she did, and did everything he could. But for Clinton, anything that is connected to Bernie Sanders is persona non grata. No way, no how will she allow anyone close to Bernie or Bernie himself get into power. She has to be against it. She has to be against him. It is super, it's unhealthy. It's so weird. It is so weird. Now, you know what? It's Karen energy. That's what it is. It's Karen. Like, she is a super Karen, and she is calling the manager. Thing is, Nina Turner would make an excellent senator. She's passionate. She's right on the issues. I think she'll do her best to fight for those issues. But with Hillary Clinton, understand that it's not about issues. It's never been about issues. It's about power. It's about loyalty. And really, in this case, it's about sticking it to Bernie Sanders. And that's what it is. Super petty, right? And this is why Bernie Sanders is, by the way, doing the best he can with his, albeit limited clout inside the Biden administration, to try to get the best deal that he can for the American people, which is pretty utilitarian of him, actually. Now, I happen to be also a utilitarian as well, meaning that you do the best that you can to get the best outcome that you can, even if it's not what you would prefer. So, for example, if you're in a situation where you help no one or a few people, obviously my position is going to be you help the few people, because at least you're helping somebody. I would choose to help some people instead of no one, because at least you're helping some people. And so, unfortunately, when it comes to progress on big things, well, that doesn't really help you get to that progress. And what I want to do is I want to get to a situation where we have enough people that are in favor of doing these big things, Medicare for all, or, to put enough pressure from the outside through things like general strikes and things like that. Until we get to those points and do those things in order to get those big things, well, all we can do is just keep pushing to get to the best deal we can in the system that we can. And that's what Nina Turner, Bernie Sanders are trying to do. Again, she's for Medicare for all, living wage, and we'll try to vote for the best bills that we can to get to that goal, even if it means that she puts her name and supports a drop for the Medicare age from 60 to 55. Yes, that will help some people, but ultimately, of course, her goal is Medicare for all, Medicare for everybody. And so she's going to fight for that while doing the best she can in a utilitarian sense. That's why she has my support. Hopefully she has yours as well. So now, good news, more good news about her polling. Earlier this month, Nina Turner has support from about 50% of all registered voters in that area. Brown has only about 15% support. Now, that means that there are people that are undecided, about 21%. And so there is definitely a lot of room where, she could take some votes or could go to her opponents. So it's not a done deal, understand. So it's very important that you get involved, to donate, phone bank, because now with Clinton's entrance, and AOC's as well, it's a national race. And it's obvious that the establishment sees Nina as a threat. So let's do our part and help Nina get to Congress so she can help do her part. All right. So there you go. The district is solid blue. So no matter what, there you go. Oh, let's see. LL says, we can't get Republicans to wear masks or get vaccinated, but Biden and Manchin think we can have bipartisan lawmaking. Liars, they know it won't work. Mr. Sushi, can you please help me organize a fight with Jimmy Dore? Logan Paul style, except I'll give most of the money to TYT and everyone Jimmy doesn't like. I'm trying not to get involved in that drama. Because that drama, understand that is a black hole. I do not want to enter into that. So all I can say is sexual harassment, bad. And that I don't agree with the direction Jimmy has taken, but he's going to do his own thing. I'm going to do mine. And yeah, that's really it. That's all I'm going to say about it. Let's see. Crazy Hawaiian and PA, thank you for gifting that tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. You're a corporate sellout, shield if you don't engage. Sure. Again, I'm not getting into this. I already see it. I see it flaring up in the comments. Don't do it. Don't go down that rabbit hole. It's bad. It's just bad. Not good. We all stay out of it. Focus on the issues, not on podcasters or personalities. Okay? We're going to stay out of that. Focus on the issues. Medicare for all, Green New Deal, $25 wage. Let's stay out of it. Don't say anything. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Stay far away from that. All right. Not good. Very bad. All right. So with that, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Helps us out. Again, we're trying to not do a drama stream here, but we do need your help. So, and that's the thing. Me not being a drama streamer means that I miss out on tons of super chats, tons of donations, and tons of Patreon support. You all know it. You all know it. Drama farming is huge money. So, like, I'm leaving a lot of money on the table because I do not want to get involved in this because I don't care about that. I don't care about getting involved in drama, attacking podcasters, or attacking fellow YouTubers. That is not what this channel is about. Again, this channel is all about trying to, okay, I like talking about conspiracy theories. That's fun. But it is about, trying to learn some things, trying to teach some things, and trying to advance policies forward, and of course dunking on the right. And that's really it. Try to do the no drama zone here. And so there you go. And I do appreciate that you all appreciate that as well. So I know I'm a few AOC sucks videos away from real money. It's true, but I'm not going to do it. Hey, thank you, Anonymous Cheerer. Living up to your name. Thank you for the 300 bits. Much appreciated. In the end, doing all that drama crap kills the channel. Also true. I don't want to do that. Anyway, thank you so much. I love you all. I hope you appreciate that. Even those of you I disagree. I love you. All right. Anyway, thank you all. Please like and share, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff, and we will see you tomorrow. Remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. You have a good one.
Tighten up my knee. That's like my knee tighten.
There's insanity in the control room. Cruise Who's got a hammer?
Give me a break. Please clap. They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.